I've flown through more than 200 major airports on every continent, but I've never walked into an airport quite like this. Today, I'm experiencing it all on one of India's most controversial airlines, Air India, in domestic economy. Welcome to Bangalore's Terminal 2. Hidden somewhere inside this terminal is an Air India lounge that, honestly, shouldn't exist on a domestic itinerary. The design brief here was simple: a terminal in a garden, bamboo-clad columns, greenery, a lagoon out front running almost entirely on solar power. Then it won UNESCO's Prix Versailles Design Award as one of the most beautiful airports on Earth. Late afternoon, it felt light, airy, somewhere in the distance, water running. Stepping inside, you still don't quite feel like you're in an airport. Given my Star Alliance Gold status, I was invited to the Air India lounge. Security here, meanwhile, was one of the smoother experiences I've had in India, helped by the fact I had nothing for them to search. I actually walked straight past the Air India lounge without realising, which tells you how confusing the branding is. I was expecting something fully Air India branded, not quite the new concept they've just opened in Delhi, which I'll show you a glimpse of later, inside a complex called 080. There are two lounges in here, one of them is Air India's. This palace retreat-inspired design doesn't feel quite as new as the terminal around it, but it's grand, modern lighting against traditional Indian art with plush seating. It's a real atmosphere. You'll find a small buffet, a fully serviced bar, and impressively, the food is mostly a la carte, with staff coming to wherever you're sitting. Wasn't feeling 100%, so I kept things fairly conservative. What I did order was done to perfection. The restrooms and showers wouldn't look out of place in a 5-star hotel. For a domestic lounge, this is seriously impressive. Air India's had a rough few years, which is exactly why I wanted to fly them again in 2026 and see how the turnaround's going. But here's the thing, new lounges are easy to impress you with, and the real test is what happens once you step onto the aircraft. Gate area was big and spacious for an A320, a nice change. Boarding was well managed, with priority lines actually respected.
After 35 years, sort of they start to feel that like
The aircraft was a 3-year-old frame in the new livery with those striking red seats. One thing I didn't love, Air India now charges for seat selection, even at online check-in, regardless of status. Though it was only 1,500 rupees for a standard seat, so I paid to secure a window. This was the 5th rotation of the day for this jet, and it was immaculately clean. Spec-wise, fairly standard economy. Legroom's tight at 28 inches, but that's the domestic fleet standard across the board now, not just Air India.
And breathe normally. Make sure your mask is secured properly.
With a full load, we had an on-time departure. Service started about 20 minutes after takeoff, another 15 or so before it reached our row. I should mention that I flew Air India's premium economy on the inbound. It's just an increased 36 inches of legroom and a printed menu. Service felt more elevated, but the food's the same as economy. On this leg, I opted for chicken biryani. It was quite tasty with a nice dessert to finish it off. The rest of the cruise was uneventful. I enjoyed this flight. Even full, it was pleasant and staff were exemplary. And with free checked luggage, a hot meal, a drink service. On a domestic flight, that beats what most European carriers give you. The problem is that Air India is trying to rebuild almost everything at once. The huge fleet, the interiors, the service culture embedded over decades, the punctuality, the brand, and that transformation is going to take years. What I experienced today was surprisingly good, but Air India's biggest problem is consistency, and the fleet is still in transition. Coming up soon, a look at their brand new flagship lounge in Delhi. Subscribe so you don't miss it.